Joining in, we've got some cool stuff going on. So the title of this live chat was new brand announcement. And so we're going to dive into that. Probably be pretty quick, but Mondays, just to review kind of what we're doing. We do these lives on Mondays and Thursdays. Had been 10:15. I'll decide after this if we do switch these to 10:30. So just trying to sort out what works with our schedule in the morning and everything, stuff we got to do before we open the shop. And Mondays was going to be tied more around brand and business and that type of thing. Thursdays, potentially a little more technical related stuff, or just like last Thursday was some service stuff that happened to be sitting on my desk at the time, and so we went into that. And driven also by questions, topics, things that come up in the shop, and so answering those questions for everybody. So, but if you join and you have a question, comment, a topic that you want to discuss in the live chats, drop it into the chat and we'll use those topics. Otherwise, we'll pull from stuff that comes up in the shop or comments that pop up on our YouTube pages, so, or Facebook or Instagram or wherever that might be. So, all right, so brands. We talked about the brands that we carry a couple weeks ago and how we choose those brands and that type of thing. So our new brand that we have in the shop, and I'll jump over to our shop page. If you go to bikes and frames, you will see our bike and frame brands that we work with. Moots is a new brand in our shop. And we do not have those bikes here yet, but we have a couple on the way, and we should have some stuff on the floor in probably the next 4 weeks or so. And it's a brand that occasionally comes up in some conversations with people, but it's obviously not a high volume brand. It's mostly going to be custom build bikes, very much like how we work with Time, but these are titanium frames. They're made in the US, and most of these are going to be a built to order type of thing. And they have stock builds with SRAM builds, but right now we've got a bike coming in that we're going to build up as a SRAM Force. Chris King headset, Chris King bottom brackets, those actually come with the Moots frames. And then we're going to be building up a custom Shimano wireless GRX build for somebody on an RSL frame. And we're going to build some custom wheels for it with matching Chris King hubs on some head rims. So we're pretty excited about that build. And so how we got this kicked off was we've had a couple people bouncing around like custom builds, and Moots was one of those frames. And then we had somebody come in and want us to build one, and they were pretty much ready to go. And so we kind of used that to get things kicked off and going. It kind of made sense at this point. And so we're super grateful, pretty excited about that. We like to work on cool stuff, like to build cool bikes, and so very, very excited about that. So we've kind of gone through this wasn't necessary to be all of a Moots discussion. We'll dive into some of the Moots builds here in a second, but we've got Cervelo bikes, all your high-end road stuff, carbon bikes that start somewhere in the $3,000 some range. You've got Santa Cruz, and the way I probably think about Santa Cruz, they're like the off-road version of Cervelo, and they're actually owned by the same parent company. So Santa Cruz makes high-end carbon mountain bikes they cover the entire mountain bike category. So it made sense for us to bring them in. We were big fans of Cervelo's ZFS, full suspension XC bike, and mostly the configuration that was the 120 configuration. And that bike was very much a play off of what Santa Cruz had already done with the Blur, and it made sense for us to bring the Santa Cruz in. So And then Salsa bikes, of course, we are digging the new Spearfish, and then we like the Timberjack and the Rangefinder as some entry point to mountain biking. And then, of course, Salsa does it really, really well in the gravel scene. So you'll see some Cutthroats coming in this year. We've had a little bit of a break from stocking Cutthroats and Warbirds the last year or so. But that's mostly because I think the platforms were kind of getting a little long in the tooth. There was a lot of closeout stuff out there, and it was getting a little bit like what stuff should we actually stock on the floor? So there's something new coming, and normally we wouldn't share that, but Salsa spilled the beans themselves on their Instagram page a month or two ago, and so we're excited about that. We have that stuff coming in. And Bianchi bikes, they are your road company, and I'm going to say they're a high end, so they do everything that Cervelo does, and they get pretty stylish with some of their high-end stuff. So if you look at the Ultra and the Specialisma, they can get a little spaceship looking. But yeah, they make all the high-end bikes. But the other thing that I think Bianchi does that Cervelo does not, and helps us fill that gap, is they do have some more affordable price point bikes for us. So when you look at that $3,000 price range bike, there's an Infinito, an endurance bike that you can get with 105 DA2 there's one on our floor. I think it's like $3,200. I have to check and see the prices on ordering some new ones. Might be up from that a little bit, but they got a carbon road bike, the Sprint at 3K, with 2x12, 105. They have aluminum bikes in the low twos with modern builds, which sometimes brands aren't having the latest 12-speed builds on bikes in that price range. So we have some aluminum Architects on the way, which reminds me I need to check and see where they were supposed to ship. So haven't seen them yet, but those have some 1x12 drives. There's some Via Neurones that are new ones coming with 1x12 drives. The difference between those two bikes is that the Architects is going to be more of your kind of adventure gravel type of bike, versus the Via Neurone is more of a general gravel, a little bit more neutral geo, all-road type bike with gravel tire clearance. So Moots, we just talked about adding them. Moots and Time kind of go together for us. So Time is moving their production, at least for our frames, to the US. Some of those are already being built in the US, so we just build those custom. I'm riding one. I will probably end up putting some Time on a Moots as well. But pretty excited about that. So Moots is going to be a titanium builds. Time is gravel, or carbon. Jamis is kind of our all-arounder. We've got like entry-level kids bikes, entry-level mountain bikes. A bike that I think is really, really good from the Jamis lineup is the Portal. It's their full suspension bike. I wish it would get updated with a universal derailleur hanger, and so when that time comes, looking forward to that. From a full suspension bike, it is an extremely well pedaling full suspension bike. So it's a 130 travel bike in the back. Most of the builds were coming with 134 because I think the bike would be better with a 140 and just make it kind of a light duty trail bike, or a little bit longer travel endurance XC bike. So the Niner, of course, we've had Niner since late the first year that we were here. We ride a lot of Niner bikes, and Niner has an entry-level aluminum hardtail mountain bike, but then most of their stuff is higher-end carbon. And I would say they have an entry-level aluminum RLT gravel bike, but that bike's kind of pricey when they're not on sale. They're pushing like $3,000, and I think they're only really competitive if they're on on sale. So, but they have a few new things. Hopefully availability on most Niner stuff has been pretty limited the last year and a half. And so we haven't had a lot of it on the floor. The only thing we've really had on the floor from Niner the past year and a half has been aluminum Air 9s that we built up ourselves. And we've sold through all those. So we do have one of the new OREs here that we built up ourselves and are demoing it, putting some miles on it. We raced that, or my son raced that down at Big Sugar. And then, let's see, Richie and Soma. Richie and Soma, they're going to be in that crazy low volume, get a frame, build something up for somebody that they've had their eye on type of deal. I'd say that volume is going to be in the same category of a Moots in time. Maybe not, actually. That volume is probably less. But it's going to be steel frames. Pretty cool stuff. I need to do a video on this one, but we built up a Richie frame for somebody at some point last fall, and then there's Soma. So just unique niche stuff, pretty cool stuff. So anyway, I'm gonna go back and dive into the Moots stuff here. And this is gonna be kind of representative of some things that, this is two things I'm kind of sharing here. One, the Moots builds, and then two, some new things that you will see showing up on our website for customizing bikes. And I might jump back over into that. Oh, Lynn's awesome. She just made a pot of coffee and brought me a cup of coffee. Thanks, dear. Okay, and anyway, if you're new here, I'm Steve. That's my wife, Lynn. We run the shop together. We work in here every day, most days together. So anyway, and if you call or send email, usually you're gonna end up talking to Lynn, and you'll get one of us. Usually, at least one of us is in the shop at all times. So anyway, but here's the Moots builds. We're starting off with the gravel stuff, but Moots has the road bikes and also the mountain bikes as well. But I'm just gonna go in here and show you like an RSL, because that's what we're bringing in. This is, at least to start with, your 50 millimeter tire clearance, and you get to pick which Chris King accent colors that you get. For example, turquoise. The turquoise Chris King he's kind of more of a light blue, and you can go in here. Lynn did all this work to set this up so that the same way you can search the Moots website for bike builds and do the configuration, you can do that here. If you're doing that turquoise Chris King, the frost blue is the closest matching etched Moots lettering that matches it. At least that's what the Moots folks are telling us. So you can either do a frame set or we can build these up. So we will add to these configurations some other options like other wheels and drivetrains, some Shimano stuff and that type of thing. So this is pretty much just set up like you would build it up off of the Moots page for now. But for example, like these zip wheels, these are gonna come in on we ordered this build right here to put on the floor. We're probably gonna take those wheels off and put something else on and customize it ourselves. But anyway, we're pretty excited about Moots, and I'm gonna shut this down here pretty soon if no specific questions come up, but I wanna go back to custom bikes because I'll show you. Hey Len, what's the best one to bring up as an example for the custom bike builds? That has the most kind of options and stuff built into it. Maybe it's time? Probably, so I'll go into a time ADHX 45. So with time, Lynn has this set up to do a ADHX45 gravel, customizable build. Pick your color. This steel blue is right there. Looks pretty good. You can pick your handlebars. This is all also just configured like you would do configuring a time build as well. So you can pick that, pick your crank arm length, size, like I ride a medium, pick your wheel set, seat posts. These will also get some added group set stuff. So you've got frame set, the fuselage, rolling chassis. That actually comes with some Boyd aluminum basic wheels. Pick your drivetrains and all that type of stuff. Like on a build like this, sometimes the 160 crank, I think you can only get that with the SRAM build. Maybe only the SRAM red, but I can't remember. But anyway, pick your stem length. So I'll show this really quick to you before we shut this down. No, shop, bikes, custom bikes. If you go to custom bikes on our website, then you can pick all the bikes that Lynn has been building out as customizable builds. Let's see, I think you've got that on there now too. And then like I'm over here on the highball. We've got that set up now that we can put any kind of wheels on these things, but we're getting it set up so you can kind of play around and see what costs and that type of thing are. So you can get some carbon reserves put on a base SRAM 90 mechanical highball. You've got to pick a size of the bike, and then, yeah, so that bike would normally be, I'm gonna set up all the stock stuff on here. Stock tires. Let's just do stock wheels and stock saddle. That's what that bike comes out to. If you wanted to pick carbon wheels, it's going to be $52.48. So if you pick the carbon wheels, you're getting full credit, full retail credit for the stock wheels that come on it. So for basically about $1,100 you can get carbon wheels added to one of these builds. It's a pretty sweet build for the money. Anyway, all right. I got started a little bit late, but I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down here really quick, or shut it down here soon if no questions come in. But these replays won't go live now until probably the next morning. So this is Monday. I've been just letting them go live right away, the replays, but YouTube needs some time to process the better definition of the high def, and so I'll let YouTube do that, and then I can add some proper thumbnails and fix the description, put chapters in it, and then have them hit like tomorrow morning. And then if you're watching this and you still want to like trail riding videos or bike reviews, that type of stuff, we're still gonna have that. Those will get dropped in, hopefully like one a week or something like that. The last couple weeks have been some custom build reviews. This week there's gonna be a trail riding video of, which one is it? I'm drawing a blank on it. It's just a bunch of ride excerpts from Cave Creek Regional Park trails down in Arizona. Just kind of Cave Creek's north of Phoenix, a little like north of Scottsdale. It's actually some older video from a few years ago, but it was sitting there and I'd never actually shared any of it. So I just took all the videos from those clips and dropped them in and made some excerpts and that type of stuff. So those will still drop. But anyway, the next live will likely be scheduled for Thursday then, and 10:15, 10:30. I'll pick a time here. These may just get switched over to 10:30. So Makes it a little easier for us, and then we can just shut it down right when we're about to open the shop up. So if you're on here, you got any topics, stuff you want to talk about on these live sessions, like Thursdays likely might be some more service related type of stuff. We can talk about, I can do like a demo of how I make my telemetry files of the point of view GoPro stuff. We can do that too. I can pull those in and show you how to line those up. All kinds of stuff. So anyway, otherwise, if you have more questions too about specific brand type of things, because that's been kind of the thing we've been covering in topics that have come up the last few weeks on Mondays, let us know, and we can do a little deeper dive in on some of those. So otherwise, have a great week. Later.